Let's take a look at this Yahoo. It's an ad, like acting like it's a news story. I always get these like news emails. Simplified election coverage. Let's do it. Let's take a look at how simple it is. Inside Trump's about face on Republican convention in Florida. Let's hear how they want to humiliate the president for being bullied out of having a fucking convention. President Trump's abrupt cancellation of the Republican National Convention in Jacksonville, Florida, surprised some allies, donors, and even blah, blah, blah. Trump attributed the decision to concerns about the state's soaring rate of coronavirus cases. But the timing was influenced by the need for you see, they're always trying to analyze, like, the president's, like, motives, like they're fucking wannabe ass mind readers. Okay, let's see what else. Oops. James Carville still thinks Trump might pull out of race rather than risk a landslide defeat. USA Today. Oh no. This is supposed to be Yahoo's simplified coverage, by the way. Activists, USA Today. Activists working in John Lewis' shadow warn about voter suppression ahead of. Sure. News. Trump's push to shift campaign year. Oh, shoot. Fears from coronavirus. Trump's push to shift campaign year fears from coronavirus to crime. What's the next story? Arizona Democratic Party HQ completely destroyed in arson attack. Let me guess, they're blaming us, Trump supporters, right? I bet you. Let's see what that shit sounds. Damn it. The Democratic Party's state and country headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona was targeted in an arson attack on Friday. Oops. Luckily, no one was injured in the early hours. Blaze that ripped through and decimated the part of the building occupied by the Maricopa County Democratic Party. The state party's HQ suffered minor damage. The inferno destroyed decades worth of gathered voter and candidate information and memorabilia, according to local news reports. It was definitely set deliberately, Phoenix Police Department Sergeant Mercedes Fortune told reporters. Yeah, okay. Sergeant Mercedes. I wonder who she hates. The arsonists currently remain at large. Fortune said, "We do have some good video of the attack. The investigation is ongoing." Stephen Slagaki, chair of the Maricopa County Democratic Party, described the damage as heartbreaking. Devastated. "We lost our side of the building at the Maricopa County Democratic Party," he tweeted Friday. "The fire completely destroyed everything. We are all still in a state of shock," Slagaki said via a statement. Knowing that this fire was set deliberately is disturbing news, but I am relieved no one was injured. Most staffers had worked remotely since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. No one had entered the building for several days, said Sagaki. Footage shared on the Maricopa County Democratic Party Twitter feed showed how its HQ had been completely ruined in the fire. Our building has been completely ruined. The authorities are continuing their investigation and are labeling this as arson. We are saddened by this act of violence, but not deterred. We will flip Maricopa County blue this November. The Arizona Democratic Party remained defiant. The flags are still standing and so are we, it tweeted. We're ready to turn this state blue. Former Democratic 2020 presidential contender Pete Buttigieg tweeted his condolences, recalling his time working in the office in 2004. I'm so very sorry to see this. My desk used to be right through that door back in 2004. Glad no one was hurt, and I know we can count on supporters to make sure AZ Maricopa Dems are back up and running quickly as you continue to turn Arizona blue. So they're turning this into a fundraising event. I really believe they fucking started it to raise funds. I really wouldn't put it past these pieces of shit. Friends, the headquarters for our county party office just had a fire break out. Nobody was injured, but we need help to recover. Can you give a few dollars here to help Maricopa Dems out? Ew. You know, that's what, like, the beggars on the... Can you give a few dollars? Kate Gallego, the Democratic mayor of Phoenix, said she was heartbroken by the news. Heartbroken hearing the news about the fire at the Maricopa Dems and AZ Dem Party HQ last night. It was a home to many volunteers and staff working tirelessly to better our community. Pitch in below. Wait, I thought they were all working remote. Anyways. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, let's go up to the top and see what that one link was. I don't feel sad at all. At all. Let's look at the local news reports. Investigators believe a fire that caused extensive damage to the state Democratic Party headquarters early on Friday in downtown Phoenix was intentionally set. Heavy smoke and fire were billowing from the building about 1 a.m. near Central Avenue and Thomas Road as Phoenix firefighters arrived at the scene. They quickly entered the building in search of people and began a fire attack to put out the flames, according to officials. Wow. Their first responders showed up to save them. No one was inside the building at the time, and no injuries were reported. Phoenix Fire Investigation Task Force and Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive investigators were investigating the fire. Phoenix Police spokeswoman Sergeant Mercedes Fortune said the incident was investigated as an arson based on evidence discovered at the scene. Phoenix Police also responded to the fire to assist with security and traffic control in the area, according to Fortune. I want to see who they're accusing of this. I really want to see who they're accusing. Never mind. So anyways, remember we were looking at the 2020 election info from Yahoo. The 360. Can Trump overcome Biden's lead in the polls? These are all, what was this thing called? 2020 Election Center from Yahoo. Can the U.S. economy hold up against the pandemic? What do dueling crises reveal about American exceptionalism? Wow. Just, I want to see what fucking Yahoo wrote that article. I want to see what them assholes had to say. Reopening schools. Do the benefits outweigh the risks? What are the risks? Learning? Commentary. Oh, so now they're considering what's below this commentary. Every article before that was complete commentary, trashing the president. Biden should replace his narrow Made in America plan with Made in the Americas. The fuck? I mean, I agree, but I mean, who should Joe Biden pick as his vice president? Duckworth? Demings? Harris? Rice? Has anybody even heard of any of these fucking people? Who's Duckworth? Yeah, pick Duckworth. I think that's a great idea. Who gives a fuck who Duckworth is? Demings? Who the fuck? Harris or Rice? Yeah, let's pick Rice because she looks like a fucking sneaky little black girl. Oops, is that wrong to say? Oh well, it is what it is. Ask any black girl to look at this bitch. They'll be like, I don't trust that bitch. They will say that shit. U.S. election models have the same flaws as in 2016. Oh, really? The election models, like the ones for the coronavirus? Is Trump's paramilitary crackdown legal? It's certainly wrong. The fuck, dude? What is a paramilitary crackdown? The fuck is that? Defending our country? Debating how much a Biden presidency breaks from Trump. What? Upcoming events. So Connecticut hasn't even had their primaries yet? August 11th? August 17th, the Democratic National Convention. What? August 24th, Republican National Convention. September 29th, supposed to be a presidential debate. It's not going to happen. October 7th, oh God. Our coronavirus task force manager is going to be doing a vice presidential debate. October 15th, another scheduled presidential debate that will not take place. October 22nd, the same. November 3rd, Election Day. December 3rd, the election results. The millionaire Republicans campaigning to oust Trump. You see this? Trump cancels Jacksonville component of convention. Watchdog. Mail-in voting results will take time. Let's see what that bullshit's about. Oh, whatever. Poll. Would you vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden? By participating, Verizon Media will use your response, which may include data considered sensitive under local law. For the purpose of this poll, to withdraw consent, select retake. Trump. How funny, dude. So this is our election fucking center. Let's see what the Trump's about face on the convention is all about. This idiot James Carville, who's been wrong every fucking election ever since I've known who he is. This is a concerning story about this voter suppression bullshit. Because it's not our people saying this, it's their people. I'm sorry, Arizona Democratic Party. Here's the most important article on here. What do dueling crises reveal about American exceptionalism? Now let's hear this bitch, Julia Munslow, laugh as she declares that we are not exceptional at all, that we are inferior, and that we are horrible, a horrible country, an arrogant country who prides itself on being racist and slavery. Let's hear this bitch. The 360 shows you diverse perspectives on the day's top stories and debates. Whoa. Well, that's starting to sound like this lady I might be standing corrected. Oh, come on, dude. Get this shit out of here. When President... When President Ronald Reagan left office, he defined America as a shining city on a hill. A country that other nations would look to as a model of prosperity and freedom. Reagan, like many other presidents and politicians, lauded the country for its American exceptionalism, the set of beliefs that the country's history, values, and politics make it distinct and worthy of respect and leadership on the world stage. You know what I say? I already knew where this was going. Let's continue. But amid dueling crises, wasn't she supposed to put one more ES on there? Anyways, the coronavirus pandemic and the racial reckoning. The racial reckoning by who? By black people coming in here and being fucking attacking innocent white people and law enforcement? Anyways, the dueling crisis. Belief in American exceptionalism has been deeply shaken. A staggering 62% of Americans no longer see their country as the shining city on a hill that Reagan once imagined. A Yahoo News YouGov poll reveals. Outside the U.S., Europeans' trust in America has also deteriorated, according to a European Council on Foreign Relations poll. Well, thank God, because I mean, we weren't really like depending on Europeans' trust in us as an exceptional country. So the more Europe sees us as not exceptional, the more exceptional we are. Americans are facing the highest coronavirus case count and death toll in the world. A lack of national pandemic strategy and a financial crisis while grappling with the country's dark racial legacy. What the fuck do they mean? Okay, anyways. Doctors lack proper personal protective equipment. What? Governors have been left to handle their state's responses without much aid from the federal government, and hospitals in multiple states have been overwhelmed to the point of having no ICU beds. Really? Why isn't this blue? Why isn't this blue so we can see that source? The pandemic's effects on health and unemployment have hit communities of color the hardest. Yeah, because they're the only ones I see still working. They weren't considered essential, apparently. Because the jobs that these people have, they didn't get fucking nothing. They had to show up at work. Especially black, illegal aliens, Latino, and Native American, the next fucking group to come and attack us, populations. And months into the crisis, Americans marched for racial justice as the protests against the police killings of black Americans became what may be the largest protest movement in the history of the country. You mean like the largest riots in our country's history? I doubt it. I mean, these people just wish like everything we do right now is so historic. But you know, the America before, the America now, would have beat our asses. We're a bunch of little bitches. We don't even, 62% of us do not see our own country as exceptional. What fucking coward, dishonorable pieces of shit we have living in this country. Mostly women my age. What losers you guys all are. I mean, you guys think like, oh, I'm so special. I'm a helicopter mom. And I went to college and no student loans. Or I have a job and I'm single and have nobody. Or I'm a lesbian. Or what the fuck ever you are. You're a fucking coward. You're not pride in your own country? Please. Well, then go take your ass on a horse and buggy. Okay? And go walk around barefoot and pregnant, bitches. Why there's debate. What debate? I didn't realize there was debate, but apparently this bitch claims we have a debate about what, our exceptionalism? The U.S. coronavirus response and the racial reckoning have brought into question where America stands on the world stage. Um, Most agree, and polls show that the U.S.'s response to the pandemic has negatively affected its global reputation. Well, I mean, yeah, globally, like everybody else in the world is looking at this shit show going on in America, and they're like, wow, dude, those people in America are complete fucking asshole fools. Look at how they destroy their own country. Look at how they disparage their own president. Look how they can't even band together in a pandemic without tearing the fucking president down. And really, a lot of countries know for sure that there are some within our country who were well aware and were happy to let this virus spread. Because they know, just like I know, that 3 million Americans die every year. 3 million Americans with no coronavirus. And so, to them, 100,000 deaths just showing up on a chart, as opposed to the 3 million that go unnoticed, but then pinning it on the president and actually having the opportunity to respond and not doing so, it was deliberate. And they know who they are, Predict team. Anyways, some believe this is the end of American exceptionalism. Who? And who might that be? Some believe this is the end of American exceptionalism. Well, count me off that list because we will always be exceptional. I mean, if you don't think we're exceptional, then go get a fucking horse, make yourself a fucking buggy, and go ride it. And go put your car away, and go wash your clothes in the fucking river, and go carry buckets of water on your head, and go fuck yourself, actually. They say the public health crisis marks the end of America's status as a superpower. Really? Anyways, as international health experts criticize the country's virus response. Fuck these international health experts. They can kiss our ass because all the actual experts of the world in health, they all live here. and provide medical services to American people because we pay them. So you guys have your second rate. We have the actual experts. But anyways, who do these second rate experts point to? Oh my god, I knew this was going to trash the fucking country. But anyways, they point to many pandemic response failures from the country's inability to produce even the most basic medical equipment for its healthcare workers, to its struggle to restart what? To restart what? Sports. Did they really say sports? Sports. I didn't think it said sports because it just doesn't seem like it should be there. Let's go back to, okay, so these fucking international second-rate health experts, they say that they criticize our country's virus response. They point to many pandemic response failures from the country's inability to produce even the most basic medical equipment for its healthcare workers, to its struggle to restart sports. Dude, how does the fuck does that even, like, go there? Anyways, it's time for America to learn from the rest of the world on the coronavirus response, they say. Really? Because we seem to follow, like, everything that all you countries did. And really, I mean, you guys all suffered miserably, and so did we. So maybe we should have just did our own thing and not followed what these fucking assholes did. America's standing in the world order may shift soon. Doubt it, they warn, pointing to the possibility of the crash of the U.S. dollar and the decline of the value of an American passport. Oh, really? Okay, then. Good to know. So you're not invited anymore. Let's see. Let's hear what else. What's this bitch's name again? Julia. Let's hear what else Julia has to say about how unexceptional America is. What a bitch. What's wrong, dude? What a loser. What a loser. You don't have anything good to say about your own fucking country. Kind of like my husband. How he doesn't have anything good to say about his own fucking family. Just disloyal, dishonorable, no honor, none, zero. Let's go. Let's see what else. Let's keep going. Others point to America's failures to what? To what, Julie? To grapple with its racial past. What the fuck is there to grapple with? They say the structures that caused the racial injustice now being protested have been in place for decades, and the pandemic and recent police killings of Black Americans simply forced them into the spotlight, causing many white Americans to reckon with them for the first time. Isn't that special? Really? How many of them have read any autobiographies written by former slaves? I mean, because really, nobody knows shit about what the fuck the slaves really went through or can honor their memory unless they actually read at least one of those books. Maybe like Sam Bell's book or 30 Years a Slave or Uncle Tom's Cabin. I mean, those just name a few. But, like, read one you never heard of. Anyways. American exceptionalism has always been hypocritical, they say, arguing that the country struggles to fix its own problems while proclaiming its superiority to the rest of the world. Yeah, you're goddamn right. And I'm so happy that I was born in this country. But while the pandemic has mostly brought pity and criticism from other nations and frustration within American borders, The mass riots for racial justice have also brought for some a reason to hope. A reason to hope. Really? And that's special. When thousands of Americans marched and set fires for justice, citizens of other countries started lighting shit on fire and knocking over statues and attacking innocent white children walking down the street mercilessly, spilling into the streets. Some say this shows that other nations still look at America as a model for social change. No, they don't. These pieces of shit were like, yeah, it's time to just tear America down. We hate America. We hate America because they're not America. Because they want to be us. Fuck them. Really, I'm serious. That's my arrogance. Yup, you're goddamn right. White supremacy, I don't give a fuck. Call it what the fuck you want. Could ultimately be what me. Okay, so anyways, some say this shows that other nations. Okay, so we're a model for social change. The decline of American exceptionalism, they say, could ultimately be what makes the country stronger than ever before. What makes the country great again is if all of you people were deported. How about all of you people who hate our country? How about you guys all get deported? Just get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. How about that, bitches? Get the fuck out. You hate it so much. Fucking leave. Leave. Bye, bitch. Get out. You hate our country? Then fucking go somewhere, bitch. What's next? Oh, more threatening and intimidating of Black Lives Matters and Antifa and other fucking violent groups intending to intimidate white people and old people and senior citizens and white children. Anyways, experts don't believe the coronavirus pandemic will end until a successful vaccine is developed right after the election is decided. Though protests for racial justice are slowing, changes are rippling through society from the toppling of statues, which is something that we don't do here in America. That's something uncivilized countries do right before they start attacking their own citizens. Anyways, to countless promises of corporate diversity initiatives. In November, America will have to wait while the Democratic Party tries to overturn the results of the election when Donald Trump wins in a pretty substantial landslide. There will be violence, there will be looting, there will be protests like we've never seen before in this country after Election Day, starting November 4th at midnight. Believe it. Americans will vote in the presidential election, well, some will, which will likely have a significant impact on the country's next steps in response to the pandemic and the racial justice movement. Racial justice movement? Like, what the fuck? Racial justice? Like, what is this shit? I would say America's like the most just country for like black people to be in. I mean, that's just my thought. I mean, I've heard great things though about Canada for black people too, but still, I mean, it's cold as fucking Canada, and Canada's like shitty. I just don't see people from Canada. I don't see Americans going to Canada on vacation or even want to go to Canada at all. The virus has put the realities of wealth inequality, health insecurity, and poor work conditions, you mean poor work ethic, under a high-powered microscope. Fading from sight are the days when this country's engagement with the world could be touted as a triumph of leadership when it came to health, economic sustenance, democratic governance, and stability. Karen Greenberg, The Nation. Fuck you, Karen. Fuck you, Karen. All I gotta say is this. All these people talk all this shit about our country, but like truthfully, the world all wants to take us down, with or without Trump. And at least while Trump is the president, what's China gonna do? Oh, we're not leaving your consulate, but we're gonna remove your consulate from our country. And we're gonna just show acts of aggression because we want to poke the bear and make you react. Yeah, come on, America, fight, fight, fight. And what's Trump doing? Yeah, I see you, China. Don't worry, I got you faded. Don't worry, I'll handle it, but when I want to, not because you say so. We'll take care of China. Believe that. Believe that shit. America's vision of their country's exceptionalism as a nation so superior to others, it can change the world, too often clashes with its culture of guns, mass incarceration, death penalty, and war on drugs. Alfredo Corchado. Is he even from America? Fuck Alfredo Corchado. At the Washington Compost hat tip Mark Levin. America's declining reputation could change how the world treats its citizens. Well, isn't that too bad for the world? As long as we treat our own citizens good here, that's all we really need to worry about anymore, isn't it? Despite the good works of many governors and mayors, the heroic efforts of nurses and doctors, and months of dutiful, what about the police? Hand washing, social distancing, and mask wearing, and basically shaming people and looking at each other differently and changing our entire relationship with each other as a citizenry. Anyways, the U.S. is being judged by its sickest states and most reckless politicians. No, the U.S. is being judged by the fact that a fucking pandemic came here and all our media did and all the Democratic Party did was make hay of it and exploit the situation and turn it into a fucking circus. Truthfully. So that's what the rest of the world is seeing. So nothing serious can come out of America on the virus because it's absolutely impossible to make any progress on the virus. Because the media and the fucking Democratic Party, they just go out of their way to attack, to fucking, and to defame, to lie, literally lie. They do all, dude, they're sick. They really are sick. Really, they are. I would have no problem with them all being rounded up and fucking deported. Anyways, it could also limit Americans' economic activity and freedom of movement in ways that citizens of the world's leading power are unaccustomed to seeing. Okay, wait, let's go back and read that fucked up sentence again because you got me all fucked up. It could also limit Americans' economic activity and freedom and freedom of movement in ways that citizens of the world's leading power are unaccustomed to seeing. No, actually, we're not going to have it. That's not going to happen. Julie K.M. from the Atlantic. The lack of sports shows how our American exceptionalism failed. Really? So our lack of human beings being used for their physical advantages and being labeled heroes when they are actually anything but heroes. And our actual heroes being having dirt kicked in their face, like our doctors and our police and our emergency personnel. They're all like the horrible people. And these sports people who really do nothing significant for our country, they're our heroes. And the lack of them shows our exceptionalism failed. Well, then, by all means, let it fail. We did most of the world and then walked away from the job buoyed by a subconscious belief that the rules never quite apply to these United States as they do to other nations who saw the task through and flattened and then beat their curves back into the ground. That's why they have sports and we don't. Really? Well, weren't the Olympics canceled? Well, the Olympics were going to be in America. They were going to be in Japan, weren't they? Were they not? Does anybody watch like these other countries' sports except for like the fucking illegal immigrants that come here and watch soccer? The answer to that is a definite, resounding no. Okay, and that was Leander Sherlackens from Yahoo Sports. The U.S. needs to recognize it has to learn from the world. Really? Yeah, we need to learn from the world how to let animals intimidate, bully, and physically harm our little white children for being white. To learn is to admit room for improvement and thus to improve, especially in dealing with modern day threats such as pandemics, which America doesn't have much experience contending with as a superpower. The United States could, for example, easily seize on the momentum among many of its allies to pull lessons learned and coordinate policies to combat the virus and reopen economies. Yuri Friedman from The Atlantic. I mean, we'd be happy to, but none of these people actually can act like adults and have a civilized conversation. All they want to do is disrespect our president. American exceptionalism supports the broader interests of the community. What has been lost from sight in too many accounts of the founding is the invitation that was extended to all Americans to acquire historical significance by advancing the success of our ambitious experiment in democratic Republican governments. That invitation has been broadly extended to many groups over time. Well, David Marion seems to be the only one who actually has anything truthful to say about American exceptionalism. There is still reason to believe in the American dream. I mean, what is the American dream? To grow up and be a cross-dresser and then have 5 abortions and then fucking marry like 3 different people? And for old men to be able to rape children, little boys, without worrying about breaking the law? Like, what is the American dream at this point? Because all I see are a bunch of pedophiles and sexual deviants trying to take over everything and then label it Black Lives Matter. But really, they just want to molest our children and hurt them. I understand that people are feeling especially critical of America right now, but I hope we could still celebrate what's best about Americans, whether we are taking care of sick patients, fighting for racial justice, helping neighbors with groceries, or simply showing each other respect by wearing masks. Reem Baboub Al-Zalamieh. Oh wow, a non-American. American exceptionalism needs to be reimagined. Okay, see, no, it does not. We live in American exceptionalism right now. It took 3 months to kind of like erase it and like level the playing field and make America ungreat. To respond to COVID-19, global warming, political corruption, and tribal and religious conflicts, we don't have tribal or religious conflicts. Okay? And let's see. We responded to COVID-19. There is no global warming. Political corruption. Okay, who's going to take care of political corruption? The political corruptors. Oh, nice try. And tribal and religious what? Conflicts. We don't have any of these things. So what the fuck is this person talking about? We need leadership like never before. The world needs us as well. The European Union is fragmenting. China is intimidating smaller powers with its military and economic power. And Russia is no better than it was before the fall of the Berlin Wall. Thomas Rees, Salt Lake Tribune. American exceptionalism is on the decline, and that can help us fix the U.S. No, American exceptionalism is actually showing its brightest right now. We just have a bunch of people on TV that call themselves news and present anti-American rhetoric 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and attack our own president and anybody who stands for American values or traditions and attacks them relentlessly 24 hours a day. They attack anything American. They've used this coronavirus to essentially cancel America for 2020, and everything that America stands for 2020 has been canceled. Okay, and they're continuing to cancel it and re-cancel. With this cancel culture, America has been canceled. Okay? All of these talking heads and all these people debating subjects that they really, all of these conversations that are had every day, they're like needless. They're like completely irrelevant. And all they aim to do is divide and tear down American, yes, exceptionalism. Normally, of course, reduced patriotism or institutional trust would not be positive developments. These declines can be constructive only if they spur the public and elected officials to create conditions that would inspire more patriotism and trust. Maybe a more realistic assessment of our flaws, a crack in the national narcissism. No thanks, I'd like to remain a narcissist country. Anyways, will motivate change, at least if politicians ever catch up with their constituents. Catherine Rampel, Washington Compost. Yeah, what are elected officials going to do? Legislate more ways to infringe and impede on our freedom and try to govern our thoughts. The world is still looking toward America as a model. In the United States, the world sees itself, but in an extreme form. More violent and free, rich and repressed, beautiful and ugly. Like Dickens, the world expects more of America. But as Licari observes, it is also largely an aesthetic thing. We don't like what we see when we look hard because we see ourselves. Okay, nothing about that paragraph even really fucking made sense. The protests show what America has potential to become. The protests? You mean the riots? You mean like black people was suddenly becoming racist when they were not racist before? You mean like black people walking around like fuck you to white people? You mean like the disrespect that I see black people show to elderly white people regularly every single time I go out in public? Like the absolute disrespect? Like young black people cussing out old white ladies. Like talking to them like it's one of their dudes on the corner that they have beef with. Cussing at them to their faces. I think that their own grandmothers would wash their mouths out with soap. But anyways, let's keep going. The Black Lives Matter protesters have demonstrated what the United States should be. The promise of becoming a shining city on a hill. A place in which government works for the people. A nation in which those who abuse law and lives are held accountable. A country that affirmatively dismantles and remedies racism and advocates equality. David K., Foreign Policy. These people all in our country, the Black Lives Matter movement is